Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Teena Jha. Can you imagine a world without computers, mobile phones and internet? In this modern age, that would be impossible. Emails, social media, phone calls, online shopping and general browsing are today an essential part of our daily lives. We are getting information and sharing it constantly online. But on the internet, all our data is essentially stored somewhere, which means that any third person can access and misuse it. A number of recent incidents have shown just how vulnerable is user and company data to attacks by hackers and cyber criminals, how systems are breached and data is illegally used. In today's episode, we look at how data breaches take place and how processes like encryption and decryption make our gadgets and our data secure. The Facebook data leak incident has ignited a debate the world over about data protection. There is agreement that data is too important to be unregulated. The United Nations has called for a debate with all stakeholders on how to do this. In India, privacy advocates have called for an urgent need for stronger data privacy laws. While concerns are also being expressed over reports of alleged Aadhaar data breach, the Unique Identification Authority of India has denied them. In this age of technology, every aspect of our lives has become dependent on digital devices. There's no doubt these devices like phones and computers have enriched our lives and made them easier, but not without a few accompanying downsides. Cyber crimes are increasing by the day. Our privacy is continuously at risk. Today, many of us carry out day-to-day activities through various apps on our smartphones. Banking transactions are completed with a simple click. But the little do we realize how safe is our data.
आपका जो किन कॉलेजेस में आप पढ़े, किन शहरों को आप पसंद करते हैं, कौन से खाने आपको पसंद हैं, कौन सी चीज़ें आपको नापसंद हैं, मैरिटल स्टेटस क्या है, किन किन लोगों से आपके रिलेशंस हैं, फेसबुक फ्रेंड्स हो सकते हैं आपके, उनमें भी किस लेवल के आपके इंटरेक्शंस हैं, ये सारा डेटा आपके बारे में बहुत कुछ कहता है.
Giving weight to these concerns are the Facebook data breach case and the controversy over privacy issues with regard to Aadhaar. The Facebook data case involved British firm Cambridge Analytica that gathered data from 50 million Facebook users and developed a software program that profiled these citizens to predict their voting patterns. Eventually, through micro-targeted advertisements, it influenced their voting decisions in the run-up to the 2016 presidential election. Facebook is now facing international investigations into illicit harvesting of users' personal data. In India, there have been multiple reports on the Aadhaar data leak. In January, the Tribune newspaper claimed that details of thousands of Aadhaar users were available for just 500 rupees. A French hacker, Baptiste Robert, recently posted a video on Twitter that explained how the password protection of the official Aadhaar app can be bypassed only in 60 seconds.
मार्केट में ये डेटा लीगली तो अवेलेबल नहीं है क्योंकि ये ज़्यादातर कानूनी रूप से वैध नहीं होता, लेकिन इलीगली ये डेटा अवेलेबल है और इसकी कीमत एक यूज़र के आधार पे होती है. तो 1 से लेकर के 5 रुपए तक प्रति यूज़र के रेट से कोई भी डेटा मिल जाता है और डिपेंड करता है कि डेटा कितना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है. और ये थोड़ा ग्रे मार्केट है, इसलिए इसकी प्राइसिंग कोई सरकारी पॉलिसी तो है नहीं, लेकिन अलग अलग लोग अलग अलग प्रकार से डेटा ये बेच रहे हैं और ये बहुत बड़ा थ्रेट है मार्केट के लिए, बिकॉज फिर लोग डेटा शेयर करना ही छोड़ देंगे और इससे ये जितना डिजिटल इकोनॉमी की हम बात कर रहे हैं उसमें बहुत बड़ा सवालिया निशान लग जाएगा.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg admitted that his company committed mistakes in the Cambridge Analytica scandal. He said a breach of trust had occurred with its users while assuring that the social media giant is taking steps to ensure it does not get repeated. But the Unique Identification Authority of India has dismissed reports of any data leak or breach of Aadhaar. It maintains that Aadhaar data is fully secure. UIDAI CEO Ajay Bhushan Pandey made a PPT presentation in the Supreme Court to defend the Aadhaar scheme. He claimed that Aadhaar data is protected by a 2048-bit encryption, adding it will take more than the age of the universe for the fastest computer on earth or any supercomputer to break one key of Aadhaar encryption.
जो दावा किया गया है ये सरकार द्वारा किया गया है कि जो आधार का डेटा है वो संपूर्णतः सुरक्षित है और उसमें इंक्रिप्शन का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। लेकिन इस दावे में ये नहीं बताया जा रहा कि इंक्रिप्शन कहाँ इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है, कौन सा लेवल ऑफ इंक्रिप्शन इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है, क्या एंड टू एंड इंक्रिप्शन है और क्या कोई ऐसे पॉइंट्स हैं जहाँ पर जो डेटा है उसका लीकेज हो सकता है।
In its presentation made before the Supreme Court, the UIDAI made several points. It said personal data acquired during enrollment, including biometrics, were encrypted and could not be hacked. Data matching software has been bought from the world's 3 best companies and stored on UIDAI's 6,000 servers. These servers are not linked to internet. This eliminates the possibility of any backdoor access to the data. Experts, however, claim nothing is 100% secure in the cyber world. Ever since reports of Aadhaar data breach, there have been concerns over cyber security for Aadhaar. With inputs from Leena Sharma, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Words like encryption and decryption are common terms of usage these days. But what exactly do they mean and what role do they play in making the internet a safer place? In our next report, we explain the process that keeps our personal data secure on the web.
Our personal and vital data present on the web is secured by a process called encryption. It is a process that uses an algorithm to transform information to make it unreadable for the unauthorized user. Encryption is essential for trusted delivery of sensitive information.
एनक्रिप्शन वो पार्ट है कि आपका कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन जो इंटरनेट से जाती है, आप उस इन्फॉर्मेशन को प्लेन टेक्स्ट में भेजते हैं, वो फर्दर एनक्रिप्टेड होती है, उस लैंग्वेज में हो जाती है। उस लैंग्वेज को खोलने के लिए, पढ़ने के लिए एक तरह से क्या जा सकता है, कुछ कोड चाहिए या चाबी चाहिए, ठीक है। उसके बगैर वो पढ़ी नहीं जा सकती, एक नॉर्मल ह्यूमन रीडेबल फॉर्मेट में नहीं होती है।
Encryption can be understood as a cryptographic method that protects sensitive data like credit card numbers by encoding and transforming information into unreadable text. However, encryption doesn't itself prevent interference, although it does prevent would-be interceptors from accessing intelligible content.
तकनीकी स्वरूप से देखा जाए तो इंक्रिप्शन एक बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग टेक्निक मानी जाती है और अगर आप उसको एक अच्छे लेवल पर इस्तेमाल करें तो उसको तोड़ना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है। लेकिन केवल किस पॉइंट से आपने शुरू किया और किस पॉइंट तक आपने उसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया, वहाँ तक ही सुरक्षा रहती है, उसके आसपास नहीं रहती।
Let's assume A sends a message to B saying, "My name is Pankaj Kumar." The intended message sent as plain text then gets encrypted. Using an encryption algorithm and a ciphertext is generated. To a third person, the encrypted text will resemble gibberish. And only B can read A's message after decrypting it. For this, of course, B should have a password or a decrypted key to read the message.
उसको एक टेक्निकल लैंग्वेज या डिक्रिप्ट कर ही पढ़ा जा सकता है। तो एनक्रिप्शन होकर वो इंटरनेट पर जाती है, पैकेट जो होते हैं, प्रोटोकॉल जो होते हैं, जो कि आपकी प्लेन टेक्स्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन है, वो कन्वर्ट होकर दूसरे फॉर्मेट में, जिसको ह्यूमन हम पढ़ नहीं सकते, रीडेबल फॉर्मेट में नहीं है, वो इंटरनेट पर जाती है। फिर जब वो दूसरे एंड पर पहुंचती है तो वहाँ पहुंचकर फिर डिक्रिप्ट होती है, जो आप ह्यूमन लैंग्वेज में, ह्यूमन उस फॉर्मेट में उस इन्फॉर्मेशन को पढ़ सकते हैं। तो जो उसका एक कंप्यूटर से दूसरे कंप्यूटर के बीच का सफ़र होता है उस टेक्स्ट का कह लीजिए या पैकेट्स का, डेटा का, तो वो एनक्रिप्टेड होता है, वो रीडेबल फॉर्मेट में नहीं होता।
Decryption is a process that converts encrypted data into its original form. It is generally a reverse process of encryption. It decodes the encrypted information so that an authorized user can only decrypt the data using a secret key or password. When A sends B an encrypted message and B is able to read it by using a password or key.
बैंक जाते हैं हम, बैंक में लॉकर इस्तेमाल करते हैं। लॉकर की चाबी एक हमारे पास होती है, हम ताला खोलते हैं और दूसरी चाबी बैंक वालों के पास होती है। दोनों चाबियां खुलती हैं, लगती हैं, तब लॉकर खुलता है, लेकिन उसको बंद करने के लिए केवल आपकी चाबी अलोन सफिशिएंट होती है। तो इनक्रिप्शन कुछ इस तरह से होती है कि आप डेटा के ऊपर एक डिजिटल ताला लगा लेते हैं और उस ताले की चाबी आप पर होती है। अगर कोई उसको खोलना चाहता है तो उसके पास उसकी प्राइवेट की और के साथ जो संबंधित पब्लिक की है वो होनी चाहिए।
Data encryption decryption is a specialized integrated circuit that can encrypt outgoing data while decrypting incoming data. Encryption and decryption shouldn't, however, be confused with encoding and decoding, in which data is converted from one form to another but is not deliberately altered so as to conceal its content. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Encryption finds a mention in Indian laws as well. Section 84A of the Indian Technology Act says the centre can use encryption techniques to protect electronic data and also promote e-governance and e-commerce. The UIDAI has also used encryption system to safeguard Aadhaar data. But how does encryption really work? And how does it keep our data and information safe? Let's find out in this report.
How does encryption really work? In the encryption technique, the information or message that is referred to as plain text is converted into ciphertext that can be only read after it is decrypted, which is how the information is protected. A cryptographic algorithm is used to encrypt the information or data. The word cryptography is derived from the Greek words kryptos, meaning hidden, and graphein, meaning writing. For centuries, cryptography was used to send secret messages. With the rise of crypto analysts who could decipher the encrypted messages, the art of cryptography had truly arrived. In 1970s, the US government developed Data Encryption Standard, or DES, to protect sensitive electronic government data. However, DES soon became insecure for many applications. This was mainly due to the 56-bit key size being too small. In 2001, the Advanced Encryption Standard, or AES, superseded the DES system. The AES uses 3 different key lengths of 128, 192 and 256 bits. Considered the most secure encryption system currently, AES has been adopted by the US government and is the most used encryption system worldwide. Having understood the process of encryption, let's now take a look at the cryptography used in Aadhaar. Aadhaar uses the most advanced cryptography encryption, PKI 2048 and AES 256 to protect every data record in its database. These encryption systems use 2048 bits and 256 bits and have a built-in mechanism to detect any tampering. The e-data packages are always stored on disk in PKI encrypted form and are never decrypted or modified during transit, making it completely inaccessible to any system or person. Despite such high secured encryption systems, apprehensions about a leak in the Aadhaar database. After recent controversies, the government has claimed to have strengthened the encryption system even further.
यही एक टेक्निकल पूरा इसमें आप स्टेप्स आ जाते हैं, किस तरीके की इंक्रिप्शन है, किस लेवल की इंक्रिप्शन करी गई है, किस फॉर्मेट में किया गया है, कितने बाइट्स की इंक्रिप्शन है, 256 है या 2048 जो अभी बताया गया था कि लेवल की इंक्रिप्शन है. तो इसलिए कई कई तरह की इंक्रिप्शन है जो एक जैसे फाइनेंशियल वेबसाइट्स पे कुछ तरीके की इंक्रिप्शंस होती हैं कि आपका डेटा कहीं ना कहीं हैक ना हो, कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ ना हो.
All the data for Aadhaar is stored, managed and updated by the Central Information Data Repository, which is a government agency regulated by UIDAI. The CIDR is responsible for verifying the authenticity of documents and eKYC data submitted by an individual. The biometric data is also stored by the CIDR in encrypted form. The entire network of CIDR works only within the country, and all its information is also rooted within India. The government also claims that any information related to CIDR is not linked to the internet, making it impossible to break the decryption key of Aadhaar database.
Encryption होता है कि डेटा के ऊपर डिजिटल ताला लगाना, डिक्रिप्शन होता है कि डेटा के ऊपर जो लगा हुआ ताला है उसको एक की से खोलना. तो दोनों एक ही कॉइन के दो पहलू हैं. आप किस तरीके से डेटा को लॉक करते हैं और किस तरह अनलॉक करते हैं, यही सारी कहानी इंक्रिप्शन और डिक्रिप्शन की है.
The government has repeatedly claimed that encryption procedure used in Aadhaar is extremely secure and almost impossible to breach. However, nothing seems to be impossible in the world of internet. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for a short break on the program. We'll be right back.
Indo-German ties are very important for each other. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier was on a 5-day visit to India to boost the strategic and economic ties. What were the outcomes of this visit, and where do the Indo-German ties move on from here?
Particularly the US is very closely looking at negotiations between India and Germany on FTA.
So there is a new market that is now opened up, and that is the film market. So now that's a very popular destination, which in terms of people-to-people exchanges is a huge bonus.
Europe and Germany are also important trade and economic partner of India. So we also have to be very, very carefully watching what is happening there.
Right.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amritan Shira and you're watching Law of the Land on Raj Sabha TV.
Ultimately, it is the public who is being cheated.
The director is a very powerful body.
A non-bailable warrant of arrest should have been issued.
He loses all his rights when he runs away from it.
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching In Depth on Data Encryption. Why do we need encryption? Each time we make a phone call using our mobiles or use our credit or debit card to buy something, encryption ensures a confidentiality of the transaction. Basically, encryption is all about transforming intelligible numbers or text, sounds and images into jumbled messages that are not easy to decipher. In this report, let's find out how this works. Encryption is a system that encodes user data in a way that only the intended recipient can read it. It enhances the security of a message or file by scrambling the content, making it unreadable by anyone other than those who have the keys to decode it. In this era of technology, encryption is a necessity. It is one of the most powerful ways to keep our data safe. Although computer encryption became a phenomenon only in the 1990s, human beings have been using rudimentary encryption since ancient times. In circa 600 BC, the ancient Spartans used a device called a skytail to send secret messages during battle times. Julius Caesar, in circa 60 BC, invented a substitution cipher that shifted characters by 3 places. For example, A became D, B became E, and so on. In 1917, an American Edward Heben invented an electromechanical machine in which the key was embedded in a rotating disc. It encoded a substitution table that changed every time a new character was typed. In 1945, Claude Shannon published an article called A Mathematical Theory of Cryptography. This was the starting point of modern cryptography. In the early 1970s, IBM company formed a crypto group that designed a block cipher to protect the company's customer data. In 1976, Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman developed an easy method for sending secure messages over insecure channels. With the advent of the internet, their technology, called the public key cryptography, is now used across the world.
Encryption is a method by means of which you can put a digital lock on an electronic record in such a manner that the said electronic record cannot be actually accessed or read by any one person. देखिए काफ़ी हद तक सुरक्षित रहता है. अगर हैकर चाहे तो काफ़ी ज़्यादा समय लगेगा उसको कोई भी इंक्रिप्शन लेवल्स को तोड़ने के लिए, लेकिन हाँ अगर इंक्रिप्शन लेवल्स लो लेवल पे होंगे तो उसको जल्दी से आसानी से तोड़ा जा सकता है. अगर हायर लेवल पे होंगे तो उसको तोड़ना और ज़्यादा दिक्कत हो सकती है.
The process of encryption and decryption have long been used by governments and militaries. Earlier, secret information was logged in a vault under tight security. Now, encryption is commonly used to protect information within many kinds of civilian systems. For example, the Computer Security Institute reported that in 2007, 71% companies surveyed used encryption for some of their data in transit, while 53% used encryption for data in storage. Today, not just startup companies, but tech giants have also moved to encrypting user data.
क्या चांसेस हैं आधार रिलेटेड, अगर जैसे आधार से रिलेट कर रहे हैं तो उसमें क्या चांसेस हैं कि इसको कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ किस तरीके से, उम्मीद है कि अगर फ्यूचर में होता है तो क्या क्या इसमें फ्लॉज हैं जो अभी लेटेस्ट सिक्योरिटी अपडेट आया है उसमें। जैसे पुराने वाले में तो काफ़ी था कि इनक्रिप्टेड फॉर्मेट में आपका थंब इंप्रेशन नहीं जा रहा था, तो इसमें आप ये कर सकते हैं कि जैसे ये जो रीडर्स हैं इनके मशीन्स, क्लोनिंग हो सकती है मशीन्स की भी, जिस तरीके से पहले सिक्योर आपके क्रेडिट कार्ड मशीन्स भी रही हैं पास्ट में, जब वो क्लोन हो गई, अनसिक्योर हो गई, सारा ब्रीच हुआ, सिक्योरिटी ब्रीच हुआ, उसके बाद चिप वाले क्रेडिट कार्ड्स आए। इस तरीके से फ़ोन्स के जो सिम कार्ड्स हैं ये भी पास्ट में वो केसेस आए हैं जहाँ पर क्लोन हुए, तो इससे रिलेट कर सकते हैं कि जो रीडर्स हैं ये भी एक तरह से क्लोन होकर तो बायोमेट्रिक्स मिसयूज़ हो सकते हैं।
Today, many websites use a protocol called HTTPS for encrypting data. While this does not necessarily guarantee absolute security, the risks are reduced as information being transmitted can only be decrypted by the site it was sent to. The main purpose for encrypting the data stored in our computers and devices is to ensure our privacy, protect our data, and secure intellectual property. This is known as endpoint encryption. It basically adds an extra layer of protection for the confidential information residing on our computers and devices, data stored in removable media such as USB, CD, DVD, or specific files and folders. While encryption does not automatically convey security, it can still be used to protect a user's identity and privacy. For example, if we are ever being watched inadvertently or not, we can hide our data by using properly implemented crypto systems. With input from Leena Sharma, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. With breach of data posing a major challenge on the digital world, encryption and decryption have become crucial to maintaining data privacy. Let's look at the areas where data encryption is most essential.
Almost 2 years ago, one of the largest social media platforms, WhatsApp, introduced end-to-end encryption of its services. In simple terms, this meant that user data was kept safe and only shared between the sender and the recipient. No third person could access the data. Data security has been the biggest challenge the private sector has faced in the past few years, which is why encryption is done on such a large scale among both private to public institutions.
क्योंकि सबसे ज़्यादा ये फाइनेंशियल बैंक की वेबसाइट्स जो बैंक रिलेटेड ट्रांजैक्शंस होती हैं उसमें होता है, जहाँ फाइनेंशियल इन्वॉल्व है। ई कॉमर्स की वेबसाइट्स हो गई जहाँ पर आपका पेमेंट गेटवे होता है, जहाँ पर आप किसी तरीके की मॉनेटरी ट्रांजैक्शन कर रहे हैं, आप क्रेडिट कार्ड, डेबिट कार्ड, नेट बैंकिंग यूज़ कर रहे हैं, इस तरीके की वेबसाइट पर जहाँ पर कहीं ना कहीं इंफॉर्मेशन लीक होने से, कहीं ना कहीं वेबसाइट कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ होने से आपको किसी तरीके की हानि हो सकती है, आपका फाइनेंशियल डेटा लूज़ हो सकता है या आपकी कॉन्फिडेंशियल पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन पब्लिक हो सकती है, वो कहीं ना कहीं हैकर्स के पास जा सकती है। उस तरह की वेबसाइट्स में ये प्रिकॉशंस ली जाती हैं, एनक्रिप्शन किया जाता है, SSL वेबसाइट्स बनाई जाती है, सिक्योर वेबसाइट्स करी जाती है।
Cryptography ecosystem is used especially in areas related to data sharing, social media sites, e-commerce companies, email service providers, mobile phones, wireless microphones, wireless intercom systems, banking systems. Security service companies are among the few claiming to use advanced encryption technology to increase security for data shared between people.
कि एनक्रिप्शन आज जो है समाज की उस नीड को फुलफिल कर रहा है जहाँ पर लोग चाहते हैं कि उनका डेटा सुरक्षित हो। इंक्रिप्शन, डिक्रिप्शन अल्टीमेटली अगर आप देखा जाए तो एक सेफ्टी या साइबर सिक्योरिटी के प्रकार हैं, लेकिन जब हम क्रिप्टोलॉजी की बात करते हैं, ख़ासतौर पर पब्लिक की इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात करते हैं, तब हम दूसरे डायरेक्शन पे चले जाते हैं। पब्लिक की इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एक ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी है जिसके माध्यम से आप किसी भी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक रिकॉर्ड को ऑथेंटिकेट कर पाते हैं, यानी कि अगर आप डिजिटल सिग्नेचर्स इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो उस डिजिटल सिग्नेचर्स के पीछे जो टेक्नोलॉजी होती है वो पब्लिक की इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर टेक्नोलॉजी होती है।
Popular encryption techniques like ADS, triple data encryption standard, and ASA are being used all over the world. Now with new technology, new challenges are also emerging, and overcoming them is proving to be an uphill task in the fast-paced, advanced world of technology. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us in this edition of In Depth. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching.